one VVG token is backed by 1 gram of gold.
Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. We can bring all 4 metals on chain.
Our gold is on an island. It's vaulted in old smugglers' caves underneath St. Peter's Port. And hardly anyone knows how to get to them.
Where does this yield come from?
Right.
Yeah, that's...
Because doesn't gold just sit there?
The launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed.
Space Monkeys, blasting off with Lise and Thomas from TVVIN. We have the CMO and the CEO of this very interesting real-world asset tokenization project. We've been talking about it a little bit on the Kus in the news stories for the last 10 to 12 months, and we finally get a chance to sit down with them and get to the bottom of this project. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be here.
When I heard about you, I think it was last summer when I was at Consensus, you had a new member of your team who was former Parity.
That's correct.
He came into my DMs. He was like, this amazing project that, they were going to launch somewhere else, but I convinced them to launch on Asset Hub. And I was like, what is it? They're like, it's gold on chain. And I was like, this is great. I would love to get some nice real world assets on chain and something that's like liquid and usable. Yes, this is what you're doing, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
That's nice.
Yeah.
How does it work exactly? Is there real gold somewhere on the planet?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So we have a partnership with a company called Ravenscroft. It's a traditional financial institution with several $1 billion under management based in Guernsey in the Channel Islands. And the Channel Islands, Guernsey, Jersey is in between France and the UK.
Right. I have a great uncle who lived in Jersey. And what I thought was notable about it was very hard to get there, which is kind of good if you're storing gold.
Yeah, absolutely. In the way here, the Uber driver was telling me that he watched this Netflix series called Money Heist, and in Spain, it's a drama, it's not a documentary.
Yeah.
A criminal gang breaks into the Spanish bank and takes all the gold.
Yeah, right.
And sort of, and I was like, no, our gold is on an island. It's vaulted in old smugglers' caves underneath the St. Peter's Port, and hardly anyone knows how to get to them. So it's a very unique vault as well. So super cool with all the history.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How did this partnership come about?
2022, I was on Guernsey. I have a consultancy, or still have the company, but we were doing some consultancy business. And we met who is the managing director of Ravenscroft Group. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he'd been getting a lot of inquiries from his clients asking Ravenscroft, what do they intend to do regarding tokenization of gold?
Interesting.
These guys are, they're conservative, they're legacy, so they really didn't know. So he had just actually returned from basically a fact-finding mission, but was probably, or had more questions than he had answers. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it was perfect timing because I just said, I can help you. And I'm a great believer that opportunities just come your way.
Yeah,
you gotta sort of see them and be open to them.
It's true.
So of course it's not just luck, but it all started with a very fortuitous meeting, and by the following year we had heads of terms worked out with them, and they are our wonderful precious metal supplier.
That is incredible. So how is this going to work on chain? You have a utility token. Mm-hmm. This is how I've been saying it on the show is TVVIN, but you just say TVIN.
TVIN, yeah.
So TVIN is the platform. So our utility token is actually called TVIX.
Oh, right.
So, yes, yeah. I thought it was kind of funny because, like the Twix chocolate with the two
My favorite,
two
actually.
chocolates.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Twin is like duplicity, twins, with the two V's representing the physical and the digital assets. So that's how it all came about. So
nice.
It's a bit tongue-in-cheek, yeah. So that's the utility token.
Okay. What does the utility token do?
So actually, the utility token is our yield engine, and we can get into more of that.
Sure.
It has certain other functionalities as well. The primary functionality of TVVIX is that it allows for the holders of gold tokens, or could be silver tokens or other assets in the future, to use our liquid staking mechanism. So in order to liquid stake their gold tokens, they would also need TVVIX to liquid stake it. It's kind of like a key, to the liquid staking vaults.
I see.
But at the same time, they get their yield paid back in TVVIX.
I mean, this is a really important point, because it's not impossible to pay yield in, say, gold, or indeed in fiat, in dollars, pounds, yen.
Sure.
But it's certainly a lot more of a complex approach. It would require licensing, and one day we might get there where we actually are. We can pay out the APY in, say, gold.
Sure.
But what's wonderful is that if we pay the APY, the return, to our token holder in our utility token, it's so much easier. It's compliant. The regulators have no beef with it. And then, of course, once you hold that utility token, it's yours, and you can do whatever you like with it.
Sure.
So you could convert it to DOT, or you could convert it to more gold, more gold token, or off ramp it into fiat.
Okay.
So it has real utility, and this is what our lawyers, when they were writing the legal opinion, is that they said, it has such a strong utilization. It's so clear why Twin needs TVVIX.
Okay, let's put a pin in TVVIX right now and talk about the gold tokens. You're going to launch gold first.
Right.
And this token is going to be called?
The name for the gold token is actually Twin Gold, but the abbreviation, the ticker, is VVG. So the two V's in the Twin name, and G for gold.
Love it. VVG.
Yes.
How is this related to the gold in the vault in the caves on the island?
Yes. So basically, one VVG token is backed by 1 gram of gold.
A gram. That's nice.
Yeah. So obviously our vault has all sorts of gold available. They have gold bars in different sizes. They even have nuggets. But we'll be focusing primarily on gold bars and fractionalizing those.
They even have gold dust.
Yeah, they have gold dust as well. So
the most minimal.
Yeah.
That's
and
nice.
That's interesting as well for redemption, because someone was asking me earlier about on my talk, can you redeem it against physical gold? And yes, but imagine if you had 20 grams of gold. There isn't a gold bars of 20 grams of gold.
Sure.
But yes, we could provide a nugget.
Yeah,
I mean, it might not be financially viable for you to redeem it because it's costs and stuff. But in theory, you could.
That's interesting.
One of the attractions, and there are many, but one of the attractions to working with Ravenscroft is that they have the full scope in terms of how they bring gold in. As Lise was saying, 12 kilo bars right down to dust. That means that we could, even if we wanted to, we could break down. I'm not saying we would change the configuration with VVG, but maybe we create a new token, for example, which has, a smaller denomination backed by it. This might be needed because gold is continuously going up.
Yeah,
so
right.
So suddenly, 1 gram, 2 years ago was kind of affordable.
But can I hold a half of VVG?
Yeah.
Of course you could, but it's, I think psychology.
You like that coin, that
I've
idea.
got one coin.
It's true.
So,
maybe with your clients that makes a lot of sense.
But I'm not saying we would go down it, but we have the option. That's the point. And then it's all about unit sizes that are affordable to anyone everywhere. That's a really important sort of marking point that underlines Twin and the basically the company ethos.
At the end of the day, this is really an oracleization project, right? There's a group of people on this island who say that this gram of gold is associated with this token. How do we know that they're telling the truth, and then that gram is not also owned by somebody else?
Yes. So it's an interesting question, actually, because obviously you could say the same in many ways about anyone buying gold anywhere, because most
Absolutely, right.
most people are not
the paper gold and all this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a real issue in many instances.
Yeah.
Our vault, the Ravenscroft, is regularly audited. So all their gold is checked against who is owning them. So this is happening on a regular basis. And what we are looking at is creating a system where these off-chain records are made available on-chain. So you can check it. So that's basically how you do it, because I mean, we've explored many other options, but it has to be viable. But you know,
Also, the actual documents you can see on chain, or you have access to see them or something.
Well, we haven't quite decided what you can see. Obviously, not for the whole vault. It would have to be for our our vault. But you know, Ravenscroft is licensed in Guernsey. They have very stringent test audits. So you know, if they were breaking any of these rules, they would lose, you know, everything. So it's not really.
I was just going to add to that bit that one of the great things with Guernsey is that they are a very trusted financial hub. They built up a reputation, and it's, you know, it's right at the top. So anyone that does business in Guernsey, and especially a regulated business, there's not a jurisdiction where they don't, where they go light on checks and balances.
Gotcha, yeah.
Because, you know, God forbid, but it'd be very easy for the, you know, if they slipped up once or twice, then suddenly they lose this crown of credibility within financial services. My point is that you know, I know it's saying, you know, you've got to trust the system, and I understand for some people that might also be slightly challenging, but you know, in life you do have to trust systems. And I'm very comfortable that Guernsey and Ravenscroft and how they are overseen by the regulator is second to none.
I think it's the nature of real world assets right now. You know, we can't have automated possession of physical things, right?
Someone somewhere has to check it and say, this is true. I'm really happy that we've got a jurisdiction like Guernsey that's doing the checking and if you like, the rubber stamping versus another jurisdiction that might be, you know, more easily frowned upon.
Yep, got you.
I wanted to add there, because it reminded me of something happening a few years ago where, you know, Australia gold mining had a real dent because they sold gold to China, and then after China was checking it, they found that the purity had been sort of gone down.
It was even worse than that.
Okay,
they basically scraped off the top and it was tin underneath.
Oh my goodness!
So there was
Oh,
so
wow!
It looked like gold, but
ouch.
Yeah. So and of course, the gold business is fraught with lots of.
It's got to be.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Anywhere where there's a lot of money, right?
Yes,
yeah, right.
It's just the nature of when there is a lot to be gained, it also attracts, unfortunately, lots of bad actors.
But
so true.
I think that's also key to why we're having the interest that we're having, because we deal a lot with institutions, high net worth individual investment firms, and they automatically, when we say Guernsey, the Channel Islands, they lower their shoulders, and year by year in the last few years, the export of gold from Switzerland to Guernsey have increased incrementally. And it's because people are seeing the real value of having gold in Guernsey, maybe because it's an island, but also because people trust it. And Switzerland, for certain reasons, have had a dump in trust factor after Credit Suisse's bailout, etc. So
very interesting. So gold is just the beginning, and gold might be launching. What, end of the year?
Q3 probably, sort of Q3-ish.
Cool. That's not the end. You're also going to do silver and platinum?
Yes.
What's great with Ravenscroft is they deal in 4 metals.
Okay.
All the metals are LBMA-certified. LBMA stands for the London Bullion Market Association.
Okay.
This is the certification.
Yeah.
It means that what it certifies is that the metal has been properly mined. No child labor, no illicit trading, no money under the table, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it also, for the conscientious investor, and I'm now talking more retail, that's also super cool. And I think that, maybe not in my generation, but certainly generations behind me, they're going to be, or they are, far more conscientious about what they purchase, including their investment assets. So just knowing that there is that certification that guarantees that it's been mined, refined, and then ultimately sold with the highest standards is a major plus. Gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. We can bring all 4 metals on chain, and we will be bringing gold and silver.
Yeah.
We don't know about platinum and palladium because we just got to figure out the demand.
Yeah, right.
If the demand's there, of course we can.
Very cool. Now I want to go back to this Twix token.
Yeah.
this is going to launch before gold.
Right.
Do we have any idea about that?
We are having our TG within the next couple of months, so we haven't set the date exactly now. We're very keen to have it sooner rather than later.
March, April, May, kind of?
Definitely April, I would say.
Okay, all right, nice.
April, that's what we're aiming for. And it's funny because like some people say, that's perfect timing, and some people like, no, you should wait, and no, you should have done it.
To time
you
the
should
market?
have done it
Is this
yesterday.
why?
Yeah, all sorts. But one of our seed investors, he's a
I thought gold was like a
analyst.
long-term investment. Like what?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but TVVIX is the utility
Twix. Yeah,
token,
right. Sorry. Yeah.
So yes, the market impacts it, but I was talking to one of our seed investors. He analyzes the market, and he said, right now we got like a big dump, but all the new tokens, you should, with the right kind of marketing, you should have a mini bull yourself, no matter what the market is doing. Of course, if the market is flying, great.
Yeah.
But timing is timing. You can't get it right always.
Yeah.
But right now we're sort of halfway in our private sale, and
Nice.
we've got to finish that. We got to finalize our SEX agreements, centralized exchanges, that is. But the crypto audiences understand.
Yeah, we get it.
And market makers, etc. But we're collaborating with several partners, Mandela Chain, and today we only just announced the partnership with Kylix upstairs.
Very good. Right. Yes. Very good.
So we're also collaborating on all sorts of strategies. We all are kind of launching around the same time, so it's good to pool our resources and share our research, basically.
So this is what I wanted to get into, why I put the pin in the Twix earlier. Is now that we've talked about the gold, where does this yield come from?
Right.
Yeah, that's...
Because doesn't gold just sit there?
Yes, it does, but it doesn't have to. And that's what we've tackled.
Gotcha.
So gold is, everyone agrees gold is a very valuable asset.
Yeah.
Most people buy gold as some sort of hedge against inflation, or just to mitigate their portfolio.
Yeah.
What we've now created is a liquid staking mechanism. Banks love gold as a collateral. It's the number one choice for banks when you put down collateral and then you borrow or take out a loan.
Nice. Yeah.
So we've got some indicative terms that are amazing. It's a loan to value LTV of 85/15. What that means is that if we put, to say, $1,000 worth of gold, or $1 million or 10 million, you can take out 85% or up to 85% of the value of that gold that you've put down.
Wow.
What do we do with that loan when we take out? And we would take it out in fiat. We would work it in the conventional financial markets, and we would have different verticals, financial verticals, right at the very sort of what's considered to be the most less risky, low risk.
Yeah.
Would be, for example, 3-month rolling U.S. Treasury bills. Yes, they actually they're losing a little bit of their return. It was about 5.5. I think it's now 4.5. So it's dropping a little bit. But what's also great with our heads of terms with the bank that we have is that the cost of the loan is also incredibly cheap. It's between 1% and 1.5%.
Wow.
So even if we're playing with short-term T-bills that don't pay out a lot, it still leaves something for us to earn.
Yeah.
And we then share between the platform takes its share.
Yeah.
But importantly, the token holder then gets a share, and we pay that share out in TVVIX, in our own utility token. I
wanted to add a little point about that is because when I speak to people, this is what really excites them, because we're earning the yield in the traditional financial system in the real world. So we are actually making dollars. Take that dollars, and we are buying our own utility of token off the market, creating constant buy pressure on our own token.
Wow.
So a lot of people, when they understand that, thinks that's super exciting.
Okay.
And of course, also we have some deflationary mechanisms involved there in terms of transaction fees, where we take a certain percent and buy tokens off the market and burn them. But
you're going to burn them?
Not these tokens, but 25% of all transactions on the platform get burned to cause a deflation. So we're wanting to make it as appealing as possible for people to own TVVIX.
So let me see if I have this straight.
Right.
I can buy Twix token, and then I'm liquid staking the Twix, not the VVG.
No, both together.
Both together.
Yeah.
I am entitled to stake VVG if I stake Twix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is like if you want to stake VVG,
Yeah.
you have to stake Twix together. But it's like a
Gotcha.
key.
Right, as you said, yeah.
It's not like the same value of both. It's a scaling system as well because it all depends on
How much gold you're
yeah,
into, yeah.
and also how much Twix is worth. Then so it's a key to get in, basically. Yeah.
So I stake my VVG along with Twix, and this tells you folks that this gold is open for putting into the
Exactly.
traditional markets.
Right, and also you choose the amount of time,
Yeah,
6 months,
I
12
see.
months.
Actually, because it's liquid staking, you can come out
Whenever you want, but still, but the idea is that you can also, the idea with that you could set an amount
With different yield curves.
For
and-
example,
Yeah.
and that would also then allow Twin to know precisely how long we have that gold
Useful,
for.
yeah.
So it is remarkably well thought out.
Very cool.
And that's thanks to my amazing team that have really put in so much effort into working out a model that is robust enough. And we think it's very attractive. What I like about it as well is that, people talk about crypto, they talk about bull and bear cycles, but
Yeah, right.
I see Twix, and of course gold itself. I see because of the correlation between Twix and the staking. I see it being wanted in both the bull and bear cycle.
Cool.
Because in a bull everyone's feeling bullish, right?
Yeah.
But in a bear everyone's like, but what better way than to conserve your
Great asset for
right.
all days.
So
yeah,
let me buy gold because that should be an asset that comes out well in a bearish cycle.
Yeah.
And if I can then have Twix that
Then a
actually
Twix to
makes
get the
makes
yield.
my gold grow.
I love it. That's good. At the end of the day, though, if I didn't want to, expose myself to that risk, I could just hold
Absolutely.
VVG and
It's your gold and you could simply just buy the gold token and it's yours. Yeah,
and if I wanted, I could go through some process and receive the gold as well. Yeah.
absolutely.
Very cool. I love it.
I just wanted to add as well, because it's liquid staking.
Yeah,
so
what's with that?
We didn't actually think, because neither of us are like developers and tech stars. But when we brought Darko, who used to work at Parity on board, he was like, I will design an architecture in which you can stake but still have access to the liquidity of the token.
Sure.
So he's designed all of this, and literally I'm going to explain it in very simple terms. So you stake the two tokens and you get a derivative token.
Yep.
So you can still trade that derivative token.
That's great.
So you're not like locked into the system. You can still exit your position by selling the derivative token.
That's beautiful.
And that's really what it's all about, or at least that's how Twin is thinking. It's ultimately about giving people control,
Yeah.
the freedom to manage their assets in whatever way they want,
Yeah.
plus allowing people to earn on it. When you look at existing systems that have been out there for so long, at best they're providing a service. At worst, they're really crummy.
Sure.
But now with the dawn of tokenization, with the ability to develop and certainly what we're now designing on our platform is opening up this new dawn of possibilities. And like I said, it's really the accessibility that really excites me. Twin is going to be available to anyone everywhere.
I love it. I can't wait to see it on DEXs. I can't wait for more traditional investors to be exposed to this technology because of its...
Right.
its ease of use.
And people ask me, why would institutions swap physical gold that they've been used to buying for donkey's years?
Yeah.
Or ETFs? Why would they come into tokenization?
Okay, good question.
Well, okay, it's actually quite expensive for an institution to buy gold. Buying tokenized gold, you still get the gold.
Yeah.
It's your gold.
Yeah.
But the operational costs dramatically decrease.
Sure.
Now,
handling, security, receiving, all
correct.
this. Yeah.
Now, if you're an investment firm and you're buying in the hundreds, if not billions of dollars worth of gold on an annual basis, saving 5% or maybe more on operational costs, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Now, when you explain that to them, they then are all on board about tokenization.
That's
and
awesome.
It's really that simple. It's a really good argument. Then they're like, okay, tell me when your token is ready.
Super stuff. Well, this is all launching on Asset Hub, right?
Right, absolutely.
And the platform is going to be on Asset Hub as well, or where is that going to be hosted? Yeah.
I guess you could explain it that the platform is built as a multi-chain platform because it's not like totally built on-chain. It's also a lot of off-chain elements.
Right.
But when it comes to minting functionality, that's all on Asset Hub.
Yeah.
And we're utilizing, what's so great about Asset Hub is that it has native tooling for freeze and seize, which we need for regulatory compliance.
Right. Yes.
In the same way as Tether and
That's right.
and Circle.
Exactly.
Yeah, and another really great benefit in launching with Polkadot is the sufficiency. So when VVG is deemed sufficient, you won't need DOT to transact it. And, two of the other big gold tokens out there now is on Ethereum layer 1. So if you want to transact it, you will always need ETH.
Yeah, that's right.
Because of high transaction fees. And so there's a lot of sort of benefits to what Twin is bringing
That's
to
exciting.
the market.
Yes, we see that that Asset Hub as is doing amazing stuff for Twin.
Yeah.
And as Lise has explained, we're going to be the first bringing gold to the Polkadot ecosystem, and we're so excited. We know we're in the right place.
Can't wait to see that glitter in my wallet, guys. Thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you for having us.